11. I'm running a bit of an experiment where I'm coming on every day, random times, not thinking it through particularly, other than wanting to share some of the things that I've discovered to make a real difference when it comes to building a business, building a brand, building influence. And so if you're kind of interested in becoming a key person of influence, you can tune into these. You can see some of the ones that I've done over the last 11 days. But this one, the headline is how to buy back 10 hours a week for $200. So let me give you some context, because that's not clickbait. It sounds clickbaity. But when I'm talking to sort of established business owners, so typically they're doing somewhere between a couple of $100,000 and a couple of $1 million. And often they are instrumental in running their business. They're busy, and the business isn't kind of producing the kind of cash that it should be for their level of busyness. And when I audit their time, they often come up super wanting. Hey, Fashion Equipped, I'm going to pump you up on the screen. I'm glad you're interested. Thank you. So this happened to me. Basically, I discovered that because I love what I do, I love my business, I could find myself absolutely absorbed in it, and I would end up doing everything. And the problem that I had, this was sort of 5-6 years ago, was because I knew my business, because I'd built it, I could make incredibly rapid decisions around what I wanted to do, what I wanted to happen, how I wanted things done. It was very difficult for me to get anybody else to be able to get it done the way I wanted it done. And so for so long, I was this bottleneck in my own business. The other thing that I discovered was that there was just so much that I was doing that other people could actually do, right? So I'm just going to share a little bit of a tool, super simple, on my kind of screen here, because it's Sunday, right? So I want you to think about the week ahead, and I want you to break it down into vital and functional. Time. Like, this is all about your time. And I want you to really look at your week ahead, really, really look at it, not from your business's perspective, right? Because we all think our businesses are super unique and our problems are super special. But I want you to look at it from the perspective of like Richard Branson, kind of auditing you, auditing your daily activities. And he's looking at through the lens of not so much what he would do, but what he would advise you to be doing based on your skills, based on your strengths, or Oprah, Sheryl Sandberg, whoever you want to pick as your kind of guru, right? And they're auditing you based on this, based on what is the stuff that you absolutely can't delegate, because it's the stuff that can really only come from you, that vital stuff that you can't outsource. And what is the stuff that you could outsource? So what I do, I often speak to groups and audiences, and I'll ask business owners that are successful, they're running teams, and I'll say, how much time are you putting into your email? So I'm going to ask you, right? Do it right now. How much time do you spend in front of your inbox in any given day or any given week, however you want to do the math? And here's what I want to do. Whether you're watching this live, like right now, it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, or whether you're watching the replay, because we tend to get about 5 to 7 times more people at the moment come through the replays. So even if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching it now, do me this favor, add it up and put the amount of time in the comments. Hey, Jason, how you doing, brother? You were the bottleneck, right? So you've probably already solved this issue. But what I want everyone to do, put how many hours a week you're putting into your email. And what that means is like you're in there, you're answering emails, or like, oh, a meeting comes through. So you put it in your calendar. And it's stuff like it's something like the meeting changes, and then you got to find a different location. You're sending a new meeting invite. You're doing that kind of functional stuff, right? Like, I get it, Mark. Right, you're in there, right? And it's too much. So here's the thing. When I talk to business owners about this, and I get them to actually do the math, usually it's somewhere between 5 hours, which isn't super bad, and 15 hours spent on email, and look, don't get me wrong, right? And here we go, right? So Mark's rocking 10 hours a week on email. Don't get me wrong. And this isn't designed to be insulting to anybody, not to the people putting huge time in email and not to secretaries, right? But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you're watching these webinars, if you're watching these lives because you're up for the idea of being a key person of influence, let me break it down. Let me break it down for you, Barney style. I get some eyeballs going on for you here. If you're spending 10 hours a week, which is the average for most business owners, doing secretarial work, again, no disrespect to secretaries, but if you have the superpowers to be an entrepreneur, to be a leader, to be a key person of influence, and to actually truly make a dent in the universe, and you're putting 10 of those precious hours a week into your inbox, I promise you are not going to have the surplus creativity, drive, and enthusiasm to make the dent in the universe that you got into business to do in the first place. Because here's what I know to be true. How you do email is how you do everything else in your business. If this is rattling a bit of a cage for you, I want you to do an audit. It's 9 o'clock, take 2 hours. It'll change your future life. Audit your week, audit your month ahead, and actually look at how much time are you putting into that low value stuff. When I did this for the first time for myself, I was mind-blowingly shocked at how much time was going into that kind of stuff. And let me just show you, right? We live in crazy, remarkable times. If you're not familiar with Upwork, right? So Upwork has changed my life, my team's life. So we got 50 team across 12 time zones. And my argument to my team is that if they can find someone somewhere in the world better skilled at doing a component of their job cheaper, they should hire that person to be their assistant, allowing them to deploy more of their creative skill set on adding even more value to the business. So we've got a whole bunch of our team that now have assistants that they've found on this platform called Upwork, right? So I just went on and I did virtual marketing assistant with a job rate of 90% and up. And the reason I said marketing is because you want someone that can help you with Facebook ads and emails and your inbox and booking flights and accommodation and meetings and rescheduling meetings. Like, I do a fair bit of speaking and things like that. Rena negotiates my fee, who's my executive assistant. She's in the Philippines. She negotiates flights. She sets up super private shareholder meetings. So we have a board, we have shareholders. So there's all these excuses that people have in terms of why they can't delegate that low value stuff. Like stuff I had, no one can do it as well as me. No one knows how to do it as well as me. Like all this kind of stuff. And yet, imagine Branson was auditing you. He's just going to sit there and go, dude, like if you're the only person that can do your inbox well, and that's your highest priority that's keeping you stuck in it, your priorities are whack. So the reason I super challenge people to this is because I want to help produce key people of influence. That's what I do, right? We've produced thousands of leaders around the world by taking them through our methodologies, and not only does that let them create more, but lets them really contribute more in meaningful ways as well. So like that's my superpower, right? You can go to like kpiwebinar.com. You can come to my workshops. You can listen to the podcast. You can read the Key Person of Influence book. Like this is what we do. But if I start working with someone or they come and do one of our programs, but they're burning 5, 10, 15 hours a week on dumb stuff, then no transformational methodology or process or business operating system is going to help them because they're just stuck in too much of the muck. So here's my challenge. My challenge to you is jump on a platform like Upwork and delegate some of this low value functional activity. Here's the things that I've found, right? I've found that 80% of all of the stuff that tends to need to happen in a small business, call it less than 3 million revenue, can be delegated for less than $20, and I'm talking Australian, per hour. $20 an hour. So you got to ask yourself, if you could pay someone $20 an hour to do all of the low value stuff you hate, and by the way, it's highly likely they're going to do it far better than you can, would you pay $200 for someone to come in for 10 hours and just take 10 hours off you, do it really well, freeing you up for 10 hours? Would you pay that $200 for 10 hours? And I would hope the answer is yes, because you get to do two things with it. Depending on where you're at in your journey, you may just need that time to chill out, spend with your family, rest, recharge, or you could put that time into building assets inside your business so you can grow, so you can scale, so you can take on the next challenge. And so I want you to do it. I want you to get yourself a virtual assistant. I don't want you to tell them how they're going to do the job. Here's the key, right? The key is you're going to ask them how they're going to achieve the outcome of freeing up your time. And if they don't have the experience to be able to tell you, they're not the right person to hire. That's a super key. So I want you to free up an extra 10 hours a week by investing $200 a week on a platform like an Upwork. I don't care where you get them from. You can put it out to referrals, ask friends, whatever the case may be. But I want you to get that extra time back by delegating a whole bunch of low value activities. And then here's what I want you to do, right? I want you to then elevate. So the idea is we need to delegate the low value functional stuff to people that are amazing at it, right? Where that functional for you is their vital. And then what you need to do is you need to elevate the high value vital stuff that only you can do. Where's my camera? That only you can do. Now, often people get stuck doing their inbox, cleaning their sock drawers, doing all this kind of stuff because they're not exactly sure what they should be focusing up here to be able to create that real impact. And that's what my KPI webinar is all about. One of the things that I found on the journey of becoming, you could call an influencer in my own industry, is the journey is really about building 5 key assets: pitch, publish, product, profile, and partners. Building these things is stuff that's very hard to outsource, like redeveloping your pitch so you're coming across as unique, as different, being able to clearly communicate why you're different to your competition is super important. It's really hard to outsource that. Publishing thought leadership content that, again, continues to differentiate you, build an audience, very hard to delegate. Productizing, building a more valuable, scalable product or service, raising your profile online and in the media, creating strategic partnerships that help you build brand, help you build product value. All of these things are actually things that are very good for the founder to be investing their time in, because there's very few other people that can do those things other than you. So this gives you your roadmap of what to focus on building to make sure that the value that you're building up here is enough to compensate for the value that you've delegated down here. I call it the entrepreneur's bet, right? And the entrepreneur's bet is that you have the potential to truly stand out in your industry to make a real difference. But you've got to bet that you can make more money in the time that you delegate away than it costs you to delegate that and have some money left over. That's the bet. So the bet is that you're more valuable than doing your inbox. The bet is that your time is more valuable than invoicing or building systems or doing all this other stuff. So give your time a real good hardcore audit. And if you'd like to immerse yourself in some principles that have really helped me focus my time on high value activities, they've helped me build a business worth over $20 million now. We operate in 8 countries around the world. I've got plenty of time to myself. Going through this process got me to recognize I'm not very good at running my business. I'm not like an operations guy. I like coming up and thinking about the future. I like building purpose into our business. I like sharing the message, building the culture, creating the vision, creating strategic partnerships. I love innovation. I love sparking that kind of entrepreneurial spark plug. But when it comes to the day-to-day, the accountabilities and getting into the nitty-gritty, that is not my jam. And here's the thing. It wasn't until I started focusing on those 5 principles that it started to create the cash flow, the growth, the momentum. I mean, a few years after I started focusing on these, we won the fastest growing company, our 9th fastest growing company in Australia, right? So it works. So I encourage you, get on Upwork, work out what are you going to delegate over the next 4 weeks, right? And just go all in. Jump on the KPI webinar if you're not familiar with these 5 principles. Master those 5 things to focus on as a high value use of your time. And I promise you, life will never be the same again. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Looks like we've got some people that agree with some of this. And look, we got some people from Periscope as well, which is super awesome. So we've got Facebook and we got Periscope, which is super cool as well. And I think we've connected up YouTube, but I haven't really done much on YouTube yet, but we'll see what starts to happen there. Hey, look, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and don't be a stranger, right? So jump on my Facebook page, say hi on any of the comments, and if you've got any questions as well that you would like answered about how to stand out in your industry, how to get cut through to the right market, how to build an influence marketing machine, how to become more influential in your own industry so you're less stuck in the business and you're more valuable out of the business. While I don't see myself to be a guru, I do exist at the center of an ecosystem of some pretty influential entrepreneurs as part of our alumni community. So I'd love to answer any questions you might have as well. Not necessarily in this live, because I think we'll roll it up now. But thanks so much. Whoa. Watching from Toronto. Awesome. But you got my name wrong, brother. It's Glenn. But Nancy, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Glenn Garlson. All you've got to do to transform your business, to transform your life is 3 things. Be brave. Have fun. Let's go make a dent